Hello, learners, and welcome to World Literature Unpacked, where stories meet history and culture. Hello, learners. I'm Dr. Shea, and welcome to World Literature Unpacked. This short video series is designed to support our weekly readings and discussions. Each week, I'll spend just a few minutes unpacking key ideas, literary forms, and cultural context from the texts you're reading so you have a clearer framework before jumping into your assignments and discussion posts. And don't worry, this is world literature, not a history documentary marathon, so we're keeping it focused, manageable, and to the point. All right, let's dive right in. Before you jump into this week's discussion post, let's take a minute to talk about what world literature actually means. When we say world literature, we're not just talking about famous books. We're talking about texts from different cultures, regions, and historical periods that help us understand how people across the world have made sense of life, power, faith, love, conflict, and identity. If you look at the table of contents for World Literature 1, you'll notice the readings are organized by region, not by genre. We move from the Middle East and Greece to China, India, and Rome. That structure is intentional. It reminds us that literature develops within specific cultural, historical, and philosophical contexts. You'll also notice that these texts don't all look the same. Some are epics, some are philosophical works, some are plays, and some are poetry. That's why this discussion asks you to identify the form of the text first. For your post, you'll choose one text and identify whether it is prose, poetry, or drama and explain why. For example, an epic like the Epic of Gilgamesh is written in poetic form, while the Analects is prose because it's composed of short philosophical statements and reflections. A play like Oedipus the King is drama because it's written to be performed. Next, you'll briefly describe the storyline and plot. Remember, the storyline is what happens, while the plot is how those events are structured. You don't need a long summary, just enough to show you understand the main events and how the story unfolds. In a new paragraph, you'll focus on one literary element such as character, theme, motif, or symbol. Choose one and go a little deeper. For example, you might discuss leadership as a theme, fate as a motif, or how a main character represents cultural values. Finally, you'll explain how your chosen text belongs to world literature. This is where you connect the text to its culture, time period, or region. Ask yourself, what does this work reveal about the society it came from? Why does it still matter beyond its place of origin? This discussion isn't about getting the right answer, it's about showing thoughtful engagement with the text. Choose a work that interests you, follow the structure of the prompt, and you'll be in great shape. So, as you work through this week's readings, remember that world literature isn't just about the text itself, it's about the culture, history, and human experience behind it. These works help us see how people across different times and places understood the world, told their stories, and made meaning of their lives. In other words, you're not just reading old texts, you're stepping into conversations that have been happening for centuries. No passport required. I'm Dr. Shea, and I'll see you next week for another episode of World Literature Unpacked, where stories meet history and culture.